Hello, Hannah.
Hi.
Thank you for giving me a chance to have an interview with you. Today we're going to talk about cultural or racial stereotypes about American people. First of all, I want to ask whether or not you have any personal experience about stereotypes about America.
Nothing, too out of the, ordinary. I've gotten a couple of questions about stereotypes, but nobody's accused me of being an image of a stereotype or anything like that.
And many Korean people think Americans have sex very easily even though they are not in a serious relationship. Whenever I see the American movie, drama, and sitcoms, I notice many young people have sex very easily. Sometimes they could have sex at the first time they meet. What do you think of this stereotype?
I think, parts of it are true. People are having, sex more frequently and, at younger ages. But as far as like meeting the first time in a bar and then, going and hooking up later, I don't know if that's, if there's any truth to that or not. A lot of people do blame Hollywood for some of this problem because, as you said, it's in movies and TV shows all the time. So then they blame, Hollywood's influence on the younger people, and so it's kind of like a cycle, some people say.
And many Korean people tend to believe Americans don't like Muslims because, especially because of 9/11. How do you think of this stereotype?
I think it's getting better. Directly after 9/11, there was a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, and a lot of fear. Not a lot of people before then had really ever heard of, Muslims or Islam, and now all they're hearing is that, there's this jihad going on, and, all Muslims hate, Americans and Westerners. Well, that's been, a number of years since then, so people that know things about Muslims, that know about Islam, are spreading actual knowledge about it, not fear or gossip. So there's still, the fear and the worry, but it's getting better. There's more knowledge out there to combat the stereotype. So you have people who, while they might not know a lot about Islam or anything, they're still trying to be a voice of reason. Discrimination is legally illegal in the U.S. You can't say, well, you're a Muslim, I don't want you to have this job. But, you still have the whispers on the streets, or, just the talks and the looks and things. But it is, to my, from what I've seen, it is getting a lot better. People are being more open-minded and asking more questions and not just, oh, I heard this. So it's getting better.
Yeah, from the education, it's getting better. And have you seen or heard of candlelight rally in front of Cheonggyecheon Plaza? And these days, Korean people are really upset because of the deal. Beef importation from the U.S. The reason why people are angry with that deal is people tend to think it is unfair because the government decided to import U.S. beef from the cattle which is older than 30 months, and people think, and then according to some medical research, the cattle which is older than 30 months could have more SRM, specified risk materials, which is linked to mad cow disease. That's why people are angry. And through the deal, people come to think American people are only thinking about their economical advantages. Think of it.
First of all, most people probably don't even know this beef deal happened. I don't know much about beef or mad cow disease or any such similar things. I only heard about the protests and the rally because I'm here in Korea right now. But there's a saying, people always look out for number one, but within that you do have limits. So Americans do look for their families and for themselves, but not at the expense of others for the most part. It's, yes, this will affect my family in this way, but how will this affect my community? So there's a community consciousness. But as far as the beef protests, like I said, I don't know much about it. If the people feel like peacefully protesting is going to get things changed, go for it. More power to the people. But as far as mad cow disease, I don't know how long the disease lives in animals or anything, but there, to my knowledge, hasn't been like a recent outbreak of it, so that risk factor might be lower. But I don't, if it was a deal that the people want renegotiated, they can try and change that.
Yeah. And I have some questions about stereotypes. If you're prejudged by stereotypes, what would you feel?
Well, I've never really personally been victimized by a stereotype, to my knowledge. But I would imagine, if somebody came and said something completely untrue just because, I was a Catholic or I'm a white girl or whatever, you'd feel probably angry and hurt. So, it's not a good thing. And if you're, saying these stereotypes over, you're teaching them to little kids or to people who might not even know about them. And most stereotypes are not true. So you're doing more harm than good. So I would just not try and do anything.
And what do you think of these stereotypes we talked about, and what do you think makes these stereotypes?
For most of the part, there's at least some truth to some of the, stereotypes. People are afraid of, Muslims and the Islamic culture, or they're angry, but for stereotypes in general, the biggest way to combat them is education. Ignorance breeds fear. So the only way to really combat that is with education and knowledge. So.
And what do you want to say to those who tend to prejudge people only by stereotypes?
To the people who believe in stereotypes, you don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a group of people by their stereotypes. It doesn't make sense. Stereotypes aren't true. All you're doing is believing a lie, causing more damage and harm, and you don't need that in today's world.
Yeah. Many people tend to define something before they know it well. We won't do that anymore from now on. As you say, many stereotypes aren't usually the truth, and they could hurt some people. Okay, thank you so much.